single witness, so this is up to the jury now. It's been up to them for the last 3 hours. They are scheduled usually to go until 5. We'll see exactly how this goes.
Hey.
There might be an indication of something, but we'll talk about that if that happens. That's the latest.
Come on in. I should have snapped a picture of him behind bars, baby. Come on in. Jeez, zippers. Let me see what they say.
TMZ Live, Harvey Levin here. The jury has had the Diddy case for only a matter of an hour or two, and there is already strife. And we are going to talk about
y'all come on in.
Short story. The jurors sent a note.
Baby, what a day! What a day! Come on in, baby. You know, they may have a verdict tomorrow. Come on, y'all. Come on in. I want to hear what they say.
To the judge already.
Already.
How follow the...
Let me wait. How in, shit, what, 4 hours?
Now 8 minutes.
Did they have to send 3 letters to the judge? One at the very last of the day. This is crazy. Oh my God, I heard they had a meltdown. Now first they was like, okay. We'll wait, we'll see, you know, let's let them, you know, maybe it's gonna work in his favor. Baby, I don't know. They came back with another note to the jury. To the judge. What is distribution? If somebody pass somebody, a DRUG is that distribution. Baby, y'all better learn these laws. Oh my God. Oh my, y'all, come on in. Come on in. Let's talk about it. I don't know. They may have a verdict tomorrow. They just may have a verdict tomorrow. Yeah, they may have a verdict tomorrow. Oh, Diddy, why did you do it? Diddy, why did you do it? Yes. So they may have a verdict tomorrow because the jury came back on the 3rd. I'm going to see if we can get an update on what the other question was at the end of the day. So I guess juror number 25 got his act together because people was thinking that they could not be replaced. The backup wasn't going to, baby, they heard, rumor has it that the judge told the backup don't go nowhere. I heard one girl who says she a judge say that he wouldn't use backups. Shit. He said, we are not having no mistrial. We ain't falling for none of Diddy's bananas in the tailpipe. We gonna put that ass in jail or he gonna walk. We ain't finna have none of that shit. All them stunts, all of that has been intercepted, and we are pressing our way. Y'all, I don't have time because I ain't ate. It's been a long day. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's listen.
And if you remember, not too long ago, just a block away during the Weinstein trial, the jury deliberation
they tried it.
Kind of went sideways, and the first indication of that was a note from the jurors. But the judge has decided, after hearing from both prosecutors and Mr. Combs' defense, to send a note to tell them, hey, this is your job, continue doing it. So let's talk about the jury for a moment. It is made up of 8 men and 4 women. They will essentially they've already begun deciding whether or not Sean Combs, the hip-hop mogul, will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Keep going
this
down,
was a
y'all.
trial that ran almost 2 months, during which there was testimony that was both emotional and often very graphic. Now, there are 5 charges here in 3 categories: 1 racketeering charge, 2 sex trafficking charges, and 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution for allegedly arranging to fly sex workers across state lines. Now, from the outside, to many people, they may have heard about this case and thought that all the evidence is very damning, but from the inside, because of these specific charges, legal analysts tell us it is not so easy. And we spoke with our Lisa Evers, who's been in the courtroom the whole time, about these complications. This is what she had to say.
The prosecution has maintained these are many criminal acts. They showed the Cassie video, that horrific hotel beating video, numerous times, and then the defense and saying that he's a criminal mastermind. The defense, on the other hand, saying that he's being prosecuted for his kinky threesome swinger lifestyle. These were all consenting adults, and yes, he's been abusive towards women. He's been physically violent. He has a drug problem. You know, basically not the greatest guy in the world, but he's definitely not guilty of these charges. So we'll see what the jury buys.
Baby.
Ladies, listen up. The video showing the pink salt trick that melts belly fat while you sleep has already passed 21,000 views on TikTok.
Right, in this case, the defense pretty much didn't argue about the facts and the ugliness of maybe Sean Combs' life, but they said, is it a federal crime? That seems to be the key here. Now, Combs is 55 years old. He's pled not guilty to all of these charges. He did not testify, and they did not call a single witness, so this is up to the jury now. It's been up to them for the last 3 hours. They are scheduled usually to go until 5. We'll see exactly how this goes. If they go longer, that might be an indication of something, but we'll talk about that if that happens. That's the latest from the federal courthouse here in Lower Manhattan. Arthur Chian, Fox 5 News. Bianca, back to you.
All right, Arthur, thank you for the update. Meanwhile, these jury deliberations come after 7 weeks of testimony and years after the allegations related to the charges came into the spotlight. Fox 5's Antoine Lewis has a look at how we got here in the first place. Antoine.
Well, as Arthur mentioned, Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to all the charges. And as you just pointed out, 7 weeks of testimony, more than 30 witnesses, and now 8 men and 4 women are deciding whether or not they believe him.
The timeline of the sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs begins in November of 2023, when former girlfriend Cassie Ventura sued Combs, alleging years of physical and sexual abuse, including rape. Other women and men come forward with similar allegations. Soon thereafter, Combs denies the accusations. In March of 2024, federal agents searched Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. Recovered were drugs, weapons, and more than 1,000 bottles of lubricant and baby oil. Supplies, investigators say, were used for sex party marathons that Combs referred to as freak-offs. And then in May, disturbing video surfaces showing Combs brutally attacking Cassie Ventura in the hallway of a Los Angeles hotel in 2016. The video goes viral, and the hip-hop mogul is forced to address public shock and outrage over his behavior.
I take full responsibility
No, you
for
don't.
my actions in that video.
No, you don't.
I'm disgusted.
Manhattan authorities arrested
But I'm
Sean
glad
Diddy
you
Combs
said
in
that, though.
September of 2024, and federal prosecutors outline a damning indictment against the hip-hop mogul, accusing him of sex trafficking, racketeering, and other charges, they say, that go back to 2008.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them.
He believes he's innocent.
Electronically recorded
and we're going to
them.
fight this case with all of our might.
On May 5th, jury selection begins, with opening statements taking place a week later.
And to talk about that is my colleague here, Lisa Evers. Lisa, you were in the courtroom, and the second witness actually had the most dramatic testimony of the day. Who was he and what did he say?
Well, Michelle, exactly. I just got out of the courtroom, was there today.
So far, much of the cross-examination here is focused on those text messages and those emails.
Testimony in the U.S. versus Sean John Combs wrapped up 7 weeks later. The fate of the 55-year-old in the hands of 12 of his peers by June 30th.
Sean Diddy Combs is charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostitution. He's facing a minimum of 15 years to a maximum of life in prison if convicted on all 3 counts, with racketeering and trafficking carrying the most weight, Bianca.
All right, we'll see what happens with this one. Antoine, thanks for staying on top of it. Turning out to the forecast.
Trying to get to where they was talking. Let me see what
Judge's instructions. I think I know what that means. It certainly sounds like most of the jury, 11 jurors, agree on what they want to do here, at least on something. And we don't know. It could be just for one of the counts. It could be for one of the counts. It could be for all of the counts.
It wasn't even 2 hours in.
Couple hours in.
Couple hours in.
Because that means they're not even, there's no need for them to discuss anything. Like, we know this is what we want. Feels like this guy's a holdout. Right.
Yeah, it just seems like we already know.
And so now the question, what does this mean?
Juicier,
what does this mean?
Tastier.
It was 2 hours in.
Chicken sandwiches at Culver's.
I often get asked what distinguishes Nuvia from other implant centers or other dental practices. I'm Dr. Ahmed.
What does this mean? The only thing I can think of is if there are 11 people on one side, and again, very quickly know what they want to do. Because if there were 5, why would they single out this one if 4 others felt the same way? Right. So it seems like this one guy feels differently from everybody else, and the everybody else part that has tried to convince this one guy. You got to look at the jury instruction, the judge's instructions, and the juror is saying, I don't care about the judge's instructions. At least that's the way the other 11 see it. And it's not that he doesn't understand. We don't think it's that he doesn't understand the actual instructions. Yeah. Because what we know of his background from the jury selection process, he's a very educated man who's got a PhD in molecular biology. So 51-year-old white guy. I don't think there's any. I've so resisted guessing in this case because you never know. Because it feels like to me. It just feels like to me that this guy is saying, because it's the only thing that makes sense. I don't care what the judge is saying. I am not going to find Diddy guilty on whatever the charge is, whether it's racketeering or whatever else it is, because, for example, this feels like a bedroom police prosecution. It could be something that goes, this is called in the law, if this is the case, jury nullification, where a juror says, I don't care what the judge is telling me. The right thing to do is something else. That's what it's feeling like to me. So if we were going to guess here, it's that the 11 are saying convict him. On one of the something. That's what it feels like to me. So when the note was handed to the judge explained what was going on to the prosecutors and to Diddy's defense. They all came up and had a meeting about this. What Mark Agnifilo, Diddy's co-lead attorney, said was, just tell them it's really early, Judge, and they should get back to figuring it out. Yeah,
it was too early.
Defense, they send that note out this quickly. It's bad news. It's bad news. Yeah, right? I mean, bad news. Look, if the jury, if 11 people are saying one guy is just off the reservation, that can't be for acquittal. It just can't.
I tend to agree with you. There's a small chance. I tend to agree with you that a bunch of people are saying the government just didn't prove their case, and this one man is saying, I don't care, Diddy's a dangerous person, and I don't want him on the streets. That's possible as well, that he's a holdout for the prosecution. I agree it's more likely your scenario, but I could also see them saying, look, he shouldn't be on the streets, and I don't care what the hell RICO says, I'm convicting him no matter what.
And by the way, again, I want to underscore what Charles is saying, even if we're right, this could be as to one count. Right. It could be as to all counts. We don't know. Counts,
well, he won't follow instructions, directions. It's going to be on all counts.
O.J. Simpson case, and it was a 9-month trial, and the jury took 2 hours. So, this is actually a little more complicated because in OJ it was just, did he do it or did he not? Or with a reasonable doubt. Here, there's RICO and there's sex trafficking and there's all this other stuff. So it's more complicated. It is just weird to me that they're coming in this quickly and this apparently unified, with the exception of one guy. It's
It's kind of stunning to me.
Allie from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I think Diddy is going to be convicted on the RICO charge, particularly because he interfered his business and his personal gains for his personal gratification, for sexual gratification. Although this jury question is a bit concerning, I don't know. Are they hung on the reasonable doubt?
Well, the thing is, we don't know what this guy is doing.
Right. Yeah.
I will say, just because the 11 people are saying he's not following instructions doesn't mean he's going to get kicked off. I mean, the judge is going to have a huge problem on appeal if he does that, because then it's going to look like, the trial was rigged. Right. So the judge is going to be very
that's why the defense saying no, it's too early.
Some clarification, but I would be stunned if at this point, this early on,
the judge got to send it back and say, work on this.
Keep working on it, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, we will see. We're moving on.
Yes,
hold on.
The Bezos-Sanchez wedding.
Hold on. It's more. It's more. It's more. This is crazy, y'all. This is cray. Huh? It's crazy. 2 hours in, and they saying a judge he is not cooperating. He cannot follow your instructions. Like, wait, what? What? What you mean? When did you decide that you couldn't follow instructions? When? When they laid it out to you crystal clear? Hold on now, because I'm trying to see where it came back out there. Somebody just right at about 5 came in and said there was another another jury question or note to the judge. The jury tired with him. Hold on. What are we gonna do? Was it this one?
Your membership is more than just a card. It's your gateway.
They working. Oh no, that's the same one I just watched. Hold on. This is crazy. Can't follow instructions. Where they find him at?
As we say, thank you for joining us for the Pix 11 News at 4. I'm Erin LeBeau.
I'm Candace Gibson. We're going to begin with that breaking news in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial. The case now in the hands of the jury.
Yeah, but the panel didn't have the case long before sending an unusual note to the judge. Pix 11's Anthony DiLorenzo has been following this trial from the start. He joins us now live from the Manhattan courthouse with the breaking details. Anthony.
Ernie, anytime you get a note from the jury, it sends everyone into some sort of panic. Everyone wants to know exactly what is going on in this jury's mind. It's been deliberating now since about 11:30 this morning, but it was only 60 minutes into those deliberations that they sent a confounding note to the judge saying that one of the jurors was having trouble following the instructions. While it's not exactly clear what that means, it could be an early indication that it could be good news for the defense. Drama in the jury room on day 1 of deliberations in the Sean Combs trial. Barely an hour into the panel of 8 men and 4 women meeting behind closed doors, the 4-person sending a letter to the judge at 12:30, writing in part that one of the jurors cannot follow your instructions.
It's really unusual for after 1 hour to get a note like that. This juror perhaps is giving answers that don't coincide or align with most of what the other jurors.
The juror in question is a white male from Manhattan, 51 years old, and told the court during jury selection he was a scientist. Retired Judge Barry Kamens believes the defense would object to having the juror dismissed after all this time.
If this is someone who's speaking and sticking to their guns and not agreeing with a lot of what the other jurors are saying, that's the kind of person that the defense wants. So that's the last person they would want thrown off a jury.
After conferring with the parties, including Diddy, the judge sent a letter back reminding jurors to deliberate and follow the letter of the law he gave them Monday morning. The 12-member jury has been tasked with sifting through a mountain of evidence and testimony presented during the 7-week trial in Manhattan. Combs has been charged in a 5-count indictment, including sex trafficking, prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy. On Diddy's current mindset, a source on his team speaking with him over the weekend telling me he realizes many people in jail don't have family or support, and that his family means the world to him. Sean hopes to make this up to them, and he's remaining committed to his faith and staying positive.
Oh, wow.
Well, after the jury left this morning for deliberations, there was one moment between Diddy and his family where everyone bowed their heads in prayer. Family members linked hands, and once they were finished, they all applauded. At this point, his team tells me that he continues to be grounded in faith and denies all of the charges. This, as the jury continues deliberations at this hour. They have been told they have until 5 o'clock tonight or whenever they'd like to break apart for the day. That's the latest live here in Lower Manhattan. I'm Anthony DiLorenzo, Pix 11 News.
Anthony, thank you, and we're going to continue to keep a close eye on that courthouse.
Yeah, we'll bring you the Diddy verdict and any developments as they come in. I'll keep it right here on Pix 11.
Is thick, smelly.
Hold on. Y'all, please hit the like button. Double tap your screen. Hit the like button. It's just too much going on. I don't want to stop. I don't want what they say. Don't stop. Get it. Get it. I don't want to stop. I want to get it. Get it. It's a lot going on before I get to my regulars. Come on. Let's go. It's hot. It's hot. Let me see.
The federal trial against Sean Diddy Combs has been unfolding for weeks, and now his fate lies with the jury. It all began on May 12th when testimony officially got underway. The next day, Cassie Ventura took the stand, emotionally testifying about her relationship with Combs. After weeks of testimony from dozens of witnesses, the jury now has the case and has begun deliberations.
Alice Gator's been covering this trial in this story. She joins us live outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Alice.
The jury got the case around 11:30 this morning, and within an hour of their deliberations sent a note saying they had an issue with a fellow juror. They said they were concerned that this juror cannot follow your honor's instructions. Can you speak with him? Well, the parties and the judge got together and they decided how to respond to the jury's. The jury got the case around 11:30 this morning, and within an hour of their deliberations sent a note saying they had an issue with a fellow juror. They said they were concerned that this juror cannot follow your honor's instructions. Can you speak with him? Well, the parties and the judge got together and they decided how to respond to the jury's note. They kept it very neutral. They reminded the jury of their obligation to follow the law. They said that they should resume their deliberations. If another issue should arise, the foreperson should send a note, but do not give away anyone's position on anything. They were quiet after that for hours. End of day today, the judge read 2 notes at 5 p.m. The other note the jury sent, questions about the jury charge, in particular controlled substances. And the note after that, they wanted to go home for the day. Sean Diddy Combs' family and attorneys entered the courthouse seemingly in good spirits as they await his fate.
We're all good. We're all good.
The jury of 8 men and 4 women began deliberations around 11:30 Monday morning. 55-year-old Combs has pleaded not guilty to 5 counts: racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. Prosecutors allege Combs was the head of a criminal enterprise, using his employees and businesses to carry out his sexual desires and protect his brand. The defense says this was all part of the swinger's lifestyle and that he committed no crimes. The defense called no witnesses, but spent a lot of time cross-examining the prosecution's more than 30 witnesses, including special agents, former employees, male escorts, Cassie Ventura, and another former girlfriend who testified under the pseudonym Jane. Jurors saw videos of the women engaged in so-called freak-offs, described as drug-fueled sexual encounters with male escorts directed by Combs. They told jurors they mostly did not want to participate. Jurors also saw other videos, including the LA hotel video where Combs is seen attacking Ventura. They were shown exhibits, including pictures of what was found during searches of Combs' residences and the hotel where he was arrested in Midtown Manhattan. Guns, drugs, baby oil, and Astroglide. The defense showed loving messages between Combs and his former girlfriends, including ones where the women seemed excited to do freak-offs, like this one that says, "I want to FO so bad."
The prosecution made clear there only has to be one instance out of these hundreds of freak-offs, one instance where it was coerced by force, fraud, or coercion.
I did think that Agnifilo made a decent point where he said, well, wait a minute, if it's consented to 75 times, you're telling me the 76 is a crime? How is anybody supposed to know that?
Jurors do have the option to stay past 5 p.m. to deliberate, but again, they sent a note they wanted to go home for the day. Deliberations resume at 9 a.m. Dick and Jessica.
Alice, what was going on inside the courtroom once the jury was out of the room?
So right as the jury got the case, they left, they began their deliberations. Combs' family and supporters stood in the gallery where they had been sitting. They joined hands, they bowed their heads, they appeared to be praying. Combs was actually facing them from where he was positioned by the defense table, and when they were finished, they all started applauding. Dick, Jessica?
Interesting. All right, Alice, we know you'll be back in the court again tomorrow. Thank you so much. When a verdict is reached, we will bring that to you live on air and, of course, on our streaming channel.
Effective, healthy blood pressure support.
Why did he do this, y'all? I just don't get it. Why you couldn't stop? Why couldn't you stop? Hold on. Look at the bottom. Pump up the bottom.
Manhattan now with more on this. Now to the first day of deliberations in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Minutes ago, jurors sent their third note of the day to the judge.
And right now, we're all just waiting and watching to see exactly what that note said.
Now to the first day of deliberations in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Minutes ago, jurors sent their third note of the day to the judge.
And right now, we're all just waiting and watching to see exactly what that note says. We know, meanwhile, this unfolded in the courtroom today. It's a sketch of Mr. Combs holding up a note to one of his attorneys, but it was a note number 2 from the jury that is causing quite a stir today. Jurors raising questions about one of their own.
Eyewitness News reporter Kimberly Richardson is live in Lower Manhattan now with more on this day of drama. Kimberly.
Well, you guys mentioned that third note. It came in roughly hour 5 of deliberations. Everybody's in the courtroom right now, and as soon as we learn more, we will bring it to you. But this morning, after the jury cleared the courtroom, Sean Combs and his family gathered in prayer, holding hands for a few minutes. At the end, they applauded and spoke for some time. Now, it's a waiting game. Monday afternoon, the matriarch of the Combs family, Janice Combs, left federal court in Lower Manhattan during a lunch break. Her son Sean's fate now in the hands of a jury. Day 1 of deliberations began at about 11:30 a.m. The judge reminded jurors they are the, quote, sole and exclusive judges of the facts. Once behind closed doors, the jury of 8 men and 4 women picked a 4-person who, roughly 70 minutes in, sent a note to the judge reading, quote, "We are concerned Juror 25 cannot follow your honor's instructions," suggesting the judge speak with that juror. That person is a 51-year-old man, a scientist, who originally said he was familiar with the allegations. In the end, the judge said the issue was not of concern and directed the jury to continue deliberating.
So what would make that's my thing. If you were familiar with it and you said that you know could be fair, why would you go in there, be there for 7 weeks and decide? I mean, is it personal with the jurors? I mean, before, could you not have sent the judge a note saying, I can't follow it? I don't think he realized he didn't want to follow the judge's instructions when he saw it was clear. It was crystal clear that there was no way for you to put how you felt as an option, because you're going to have to explain how you got to that conclusion individually. because he pointed out the law. I try to tell people all the time how you feel and what you think does not supersede the law. It don't supersede the law. Now, when they came back and I have a question, okay, if a DRUG is passed to somebody, yeah, if you have a question, that's different. But don't say you can't follow the judge's instructions, because now I agree, it looked like you trying to throw it. And you trying to throw it without even cooperate. I don't want to talk, I don't want to look. You just, what? What? So so you can't fix it. You can't throw it. I mean, it could be a hung jury, but again, he's played his stunt too early in the game, if you ask me. So now they're deliberating. One other came back with another one. Is passing. If somebody hand you a DRUG, is that yes? Yes, it is. Absolutely. You offer somebody, yeah, whether money exchanged or not, you cannot share your drugs with someone else. That's why I try to explain to people, y'all need to know these laws before we pop up and say, oh, that's not against the law for me to give somebody. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And when they came back with that, I was like, wow. So they are going through it. They are going through it, and they asking questions. And I know Diddy damn near passed the out. Because I'm going to be honest. When I was picking my quick ones, I was picking easy ones. I can't give drugs to minors. I mean, you can't give them to nobody. Nobody. You can't give somebody a Molly. You can't have it and say, here, take this. Or when he was making them take it to perform. And then if memory serves, hey Keisha, if memory serves me correctly, one of them male hookers, he asked them, do he need anything? Do he da. And he was like, no, Because remember, even that girl, Jane Doe, she was saying she didn't want them to have no drugs on while she was fooling with them. But he offered even the male workers. He offered some to Brandon, Paul. So for them to be asking about if somebody just pass you one, hand you one, give you one, I think they used the word pass. So like it could have been a third party. Like somebody say, here. Oh, well, damn. Kind of like, oh, well, that mean, what's her name? What's baby girl name that gave that horse pill to Q? That mean her ass in trouble too. Because if memory serves me correctly, she said Diddy gave her a pill to give to Q. I mean, I know that's not this case right now, but I mean, since that came up as one of the jury's questions, yeah, you can't do that. You can't put your hand on it at all. So all of that, Diddy had somebody else do it in his enterprise? Yeah, because if he didn't do it, but he had somebody else do it, because why else would you be saying is passing drugs distribution? Pat, yeah. Yeah, you can't keep your hands up off of it. Put your hands up in the air like, nah, dog, But that's what's going on. So that's a factor. That's a factor. I'm thinking bribery. I'm thinking other stuff. Extortion of the 20K. They don't went to the DRUG. It's distribution. Oh, he's sick. I can't wait till somebody catch that. Let's go. Please hit the like button. Come on.
Considered one of the most successful producers and entrepreneurs in the hip-hop industry, prosecutors paint a much different picture of the 55-year-old. They say for 2 decades, Combs headed up a criminal organization prosecutors call, quote, Combs Enterprise, in which he, quote, abused, threatened, and coerced women into having sex with paid male escorts. 2 main prosecution witnesses, Combs' ex-girlfriends, Cassie Ventura, seen here with him in 2016, and a woman who testified under the name Jane. The government says those in Combs' innermost circle, so-called, quote, loyal lieutenants and foot soldiers, catered to his every whim. Throughout the 7 weeks of testimony, jurors heard about and watched videos of so-called freak-offs or hotel nights, sometimes days-long drug-fueled sex sessions. But Combs insists he's innocent, that any and all sexual encounters were consensual. Now, there are 5 alternate jurors. The judge did send them home today, but they are not dismissed. They're essentially on standby for if and when they are needed. Again, that 3rd note coming today.
Who on standby? Oh, the alternates. Y'all hear that? The alternates. He sent them home, but they on standby. You hear that? So just in case that 25 want to pull that stunt, he can't come back singing irreplaceable. Oh, yeah, you replaceable. We're going to replace that ass.
On standby for if and when they are needed. Again, that 3rd note coming today during the roughly 5th hour of deliberations. When we find more information, we will bring it to you. For now, we're live in Lower Manhattan. Kimberly Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
And Kimberly, to that point, just seconds ago as you were speaking, we understand the 3rd note from the jury is a question about the distribution of a controlled substance. So they're working through that now. How do they answer? Lawyers talking about it, the judge talking about it. As more developments happen, of course, we'll let you know, Tanya.
That's
Ooh.
It's Verizon Summer Bundle.
I know they sick. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Ask them about, yeah. Pass the Debbie to the left inside. You can't pass. Nothing. What is wrong with y'all? Oh my God, that's not looking good. It's not looking good. What's next? What do we have next? Let's go. What is the deliberation? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Get the lights up, y'all. Come on. Let's hear her. Come on.
Huge. The jury has signaled that Diddy is probably guilty of.
She can't even get it out.
The RICO.
Get it out. Get it out, Tisa.
Okay, there we go. I am repeating. The jury has signaled that Diddy is probably guilty of the RICO charge with Diddy. You guys, what am I talking about? All right, first of all, I'm gonna have to take y'all on this magic journey because my microphone's not working, but who cares? You guys, I was in court today. Okay, I'm back. You guys, I was in court today, okay? I stayed for the whole day. I know what it was saying. Nothing was going to happen in the courtroom. It was a waste of time, but everybody was wrong because it was not a waste of time because the jury has signaled that Diddy is probably going to be found guilty on the distribution charge, the reg charges. I know it's a lot, but it's good. And let me tell you what happened. Okay,
Hold on.
probably guilty of the predicate with the RICO. I am. Okay, there we go. I am repeating. The jury has signaled that Diddy is probably guilty of the RICO charge with Diddy. You guys, what am I talking about? All right, first of all, I'm gonna have to take y'all on this magic journey because my microphone's not working, but who cares? You guys, I was in court today.
Shout out to Cecil.
Okay, I'm back. You guys, I was in court today, okay? I stayed for the whole day. I know what it was saying. Nothing was going to happen in the courtroom. It was a waste of time, but everybody was wrong because it was not a waste of time because the jury has signaled that Diddy is probably going to be found guilty on the distribution charge, the rug charges. I know it's a lot, but it's good. And let me tell you what happened, okay, right? So we're sitting around, and all of a sudden, Mark Agnifilio comes rushing into the courtroom. Look, I was getting my shoes off. He comes rushing into the courtroom, okay? He has a look of concern. Now, Mark always looks like he's like a little bit flabbergasted when he comes walking in, so I didn't think it was that big a deal, but I was still being nosy, okay? Now, mind you, we've been sitting in the courtroom with nothing. That note didn't come back for the juror, so I guess juror 25 figured it out. Spoiler alert, I also found out that the four-person juror number 5 is not who people think it is. It is not, in fact, even a woman. Juror number 5 is the number they have is the number they had during the voir dire, not their numbers of their seating chart, okay? Juror number 5 is not a woman at all. He is actually a man. But I guess you found that out by he. But who cares about that? Because let me get in, hold on, y'all. Where's my, okay. Who cares about that? Because we need to talk about the way they already got Diddy on one of the RICO charges, and the defense was melting down. Okay, right? So Mark comes rushing into the courtroom, okay? Then they got Driscoll. Driscoll is this lawyer where his mind, he knows he knows all the law like canon, okay? Every time he opens his mouth, I'm like, oh my God, because he's going to be right. He's so annoying because he knows all the details, and guess what? He's always right, okay? Driscoll comes in, but Driscoll looks worried.
I make some good summer barbecue.
He looks worried.
I can't match these two hearty barbecue.
Driscoll looks worried.
Looks worried. Xavier comes in. All of the lawyers are like looking around, okay? They're all huddling. They're all looking through stuff, blah, 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 blah. Diddy comes out the back, okay? And there was one time where he got bought out the back and all you heard was like a toilet flushing, and then he came out like wiping his hands. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't want to know. Oddly enough, this is after he watched the freak-off tape. I noticed that every time Diddy watches freak-off tapes, this is in the past, his trips to the bathroom kept increasing. It was odd. But it doesn't matter, okay? So, Diddy comes right?
He was,
and then
in other words, he was using his strong hand when he was looking at the videotapes. He had to pause for a cause and go into the restroom and finish off. Is that what she trying to say on Darko? Oh, he sure is dirty, ain't he? He just can't help himself. He can't wait till he get back into his dorm room and handle his business at night. He can't let that rock his ass to sleep, huh? In that hard ass cot. He was stressed out, Lisa. I thought he was having flashbacks of the times we had. Some made. I thought he was Anita Baker. Hi, Nancy. Hi, everybody that came in. Please, y'all, hit the like button. Let's go.
That the jury wrote, and it's written on a piece of paper. Nobody knows what's on the note, okay? So they're passing the note around. When Diddy's team saw the note, it was just like, I felt like it was that Nicki Minaj video. It was like, they were just going like crazy. They were in powwows. It went from, they were in straight up powwows. First of all, it was Esteban, Mark Agnifilio, Xavier, Brian. They were huddled. Then Westmoreland, Diddy, and Shapiro were over Diddy, right? They were over Diddy, talking to him. Diddy was sitting there barking orders at everybody. Then it was Westmoreland and Brian were talking, okay? Mark came over and was talking to Diddy. Brian still, oddly enough, was like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. He was not bothered at all. He was not, hold on. He was not bothered at all. 1 second.
Oh my God.
Brian still wasn't bothered at all. He was just sipping from his pink water bottle, and probably his wife, girlfriend, daughter, granddaughter, favorite niece gave it to him. It looks like it had sentimental value. He was just sipping from his pink water bottle, just like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. Okay? Then Driscoll, Xavier, and Shapiro all got together and they were scrolling on the laptop. All of a sudden, everybody was looking on their phones. Everybody was looking at the laptop. Everybody was like streamlining in, going in and out. They looked like they were all looking for an extra, like they looked like they were all looking for the answer, the Holy Grail. Now, I knew at this point, especially if Driscoll's out there on the ones and twos, you guys are literally looking for case law. You're looking for case law for something to support. Still didn't know what they were going. However, on the defense side, it was like, see ya. It was on the defense side. It was like, right? Mind you, you go over and look at the prosecution's table. This one I knew they had Diddy. You looked at the prosecution's table, and it really was, listen, Comey was like, They were all chilling. They were all chillax. They were all just sitting there, literally. I'm spinning like my ballerina. Diddy was barking something at them like, now mind you, when I say barking, he's not yelling. However, you see from his body language, he's like, right, literally looking at screens. They're all looking worried. They don't know what to do. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I was like, what is going on? It was tea. It was high drama. I said, oh my God, I'm so glad I stayed, because I was going to come downstairs and film some voiceovers, but I'm glad I did the right thing and actually stayed. See, hard work always pays off. Now get this, right? Now here's what happened. After a while, and when I say a while, all this happened over like 15 minutes. Diddy was just sitting there, straight, looking pissed. Looking pissed. That type of piss when you are so mad, because I get that like that sometimes. When I'm so mad, I know that if I say something, I'm gonna act a fool. Literally flip over the Monopoly board. You know how there's nothing you can do except for look straight and ignore anyone, because if you engage, you are gonna lose.
Hey, Crystal, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you too.
And we found out what was going on. You guys, they got Diddy on this drug. They have Diddy on the drug distribution charge. They have him on the drug distribution charge, and it is a RICO. Listen to this. So Judge Aaron came out. All rise, you know, got us popped up, right? I got my little Hillary Banks outfit on, right? So I popped up, and I'm like, okay, like, you know, we all have to stand for the judge. And he said the jury sent out 2 letters, okay? And he read the letter, okay? He says this deals with page 37 of the jury instructions. As a matter of fact, let me pull these up, because I have...
Hold on.
The jury instructions. Hold on really quick.
Yeah,
I just
you
have
hold
to
on
make
too.
a quick
Because I'm out.
call. Give me 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Sorry, guys. 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. 1 second. Oh, you guys like the outfit? Yes. I'm standing like... Here we go. This is the outfit. Of course, nobody is answering my phone. Okay, I'm back, right? So I have the jury instructions. So let me actually pull them up. This is what they actually had. This is what they actually had questions on. Hold on, page 37. I'm gonna read exactly what they had questions about.
Okay, let's go.
Oh my God, come on. 9, 12, 14. I'm on my phone. Page 41, 36. This is 37. Okay, so they said, here we go. Page 37, lines 1 through 3. It says, in addition to alleging the violation of the substances offenses of transportation to engage in no.
They're gonna
the
be
next
best
category
friends.
of criminal violation is, hey, what's up, guys? You too. The next category of criminal violation is possession with intent to distribute. or distribution of narcotics and controlled substances, including coca, oxidin, asmarabil, meth, gamma, I don't know. Basically, Diddy had a whole pharmacy. He was Breaking Bad, right? There was a bunch of, there's like 8 things. The elements of distribution to possess with the intent to distribute a controlled substance are, oh, here we go. This is on page 37. The word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver or pass to, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require a step. That's what it said. So the juror sent out a note to the judge and the defense and prosecution, and here's what they said, and this is how you know. They said, if the person wants or asks for the drugs, and another person, hey, how are you? And another person gives it to them, is a still distribution. Now listen, I've watched Narcos. I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched The Wire, right? I would say all seasons, but no, that would be a lie. I have not, right? But I've watched The Wire. My dad and brothers were watching it. And I already knew the answer to that is yes, right? Yes, I literally put my notes, yes, lol, it's still distribution. And then also the jury said, listen, we're ending at 5. You guys, they have Diddy on the distribution charges, which is one of the RICO. They only need another act for him to be guilty of bribery, arson, sex trafficking, the prostitution, and they have him on the RICO, y'all. And that's before you even get into the prostitution across state lines. There was sex trafficking with moving prostitutes across state lines. How do you know that? Because they were asking that, well, what if the person wanted to get the drugs? Is that still distribution? Yes, it is. So the fact that it's yes lets me know that they have them. You guys, we got the first win. It looks like the jury has just signaled that Diddy is about to be found guilty of drug distribution under the law. Now, when you copy that into Juror 25, remember they said that Juror 25 was disregarding the judge's instructions. Why? Because he was going off of, well, I don't know what he was doing. Yeah. But it looked like when you defy the judge's order says to put aside your personal feelings and go. Is it about this one? They said put aside your personal and go by the letter of the law. It does not matter whether you think something is criminal or not. Look to the jury instructions, and the jury instructions will tell you if this behavior is criminal. So what do we have? We have somebody that gave drugs to people. They're asking, well, what if the person asks for it? Is that still guilty for distribution under RICO? Okay, and he did this multiple times. Spoiler for everybody saying, I don't see the crime. If you are giving drugs to people, whether you're friends or not, you need to stop because it's 100% illegal. And if the feds find out, you might be facing a RICO too. Don't say I didn't give you any favors or tell you anything. But when you combine that with this juror being like, well, I don't really feel like this is really I don't know what the juror was saying, but if you combine it with Juror 25, them saying they refuse to follow the letter of the law, and the next thing you do is get a letter, a note to the judge saying, well, what if they ask for it? Is that still distribution? Yes. So here's the funny thing, right? So then, right? So they were like, okay, so what the judge is they send answers back to the jury. They said they give the answer tomorrow, but today by 6 p.m., which is in a few minutes, the defense has to give what they want those instructions to say, or answer to the question. Why? Because this could make or break. Now listen, the whole time the prosecution is like, sex to be you. And they were literally just so like, I'm spinning like a ballerina. Why Diddy's energy is like, all over the place, right? So I was just like, oh my God, they got him. So then the defense was like, well, Your Honor, we'd like more time to think about what we want the answer to be. And he was like, all right, like, cool. Like, can you get it by 6? And they're like, yeah, Your Honor, I guess I'll do that. So then the prosecution, well, you know, Maureen Comey stood up and she did the Comey lean. And you know, every time she hits that mic and leans over to her left, you know she's in her bag. Maureen stood up and she did the Comey lean. And she was like, Your Honor, I understand what you're doing with the jury instruction, but we would suggest that what would be the most helpful and accurate thing to do. Because the judge was like, listen, I think I'm going to direct them back to page 37, lines 1 through 3. And that's what I just read you. Let me read it again in case you guys didn't see some semblance. I'll go through it really quick. The judge said, listen, I'm going to literally send you back. I'm going to redirect them to go read over page 37, lines 1 through 3. What does that mean? Line 1, the word distribution means actual, constructive, or attempted transfer. To distribute simply means to deliver, to pass over, or to hand over something to another person, or to cause it to be delivered, passed on, or handed over to another. Distribution does not require sale. Now, Diddy distributed drugs to all his girlfriends and probably the sex workers. His employees distributed the drugs to him. And the drug dealers distributed the drugs to, well, actually sold the drugs, but it's another form of distribution to Diddy's team. Diddy's team distributed it to Diddy. Diddy distributed it to his quote-unquote girlfriends or sex trafficking victims and maybe the sex workers. I don't know if the sex workers partook, but it doesn't matter. He probably tried to get them. They said, Your Honor, yes, we do think that they should be referred to back to page 37, lines to 3. This is what I just read you guys. But Maureen Comey was like, but I feel like by them asking that question, that they are confused, and they are confused about the law. So I think what would be most helpful and most accurate is when you send that jury instruction back to their question, if a person wants or asks for rugs and another person gives it to them, is it still distribution? She said, I think what would be most helpful and most accurate is before you refer them to page 37, answer the question and say, yes, it is. And please refer to page 37, lines 1 through 3 for the law. Y'all, when I say Diddy was sitting there looking stuck, his team looked like a bomb had just been dropped on him. And on top of that, okay? And on top of that, with the most helpful and the most direct, it looked like a bomb had just been dropped on him, okay? You have all that stuff. You have the thing. You're doing the jury charges. And on top of that, with the 2 letters, okay, that they did combined with 25, saying that they don't really think, like, you know, they won't apply the law. And now they're asking for the judge to clarify what the law is. And Maureen Comey is saying the law is yes. For all these people on the Diddy side, for all these people saying, I don't see it. It's not, the charges seem weak. Can I say something? If you are if the charge is whether, oh my God, Francine Lavea, thank you so much. 15 for lunch. We're good? 5 minutes? Oh, no problem. Here, I'll move over now. Hold on, guys.
A tight-knit college in a city of opportunity. Washburn offers the best of both worlds. Close, but not too close. Small classes and big experiences. Public, prestigious, and affordable. Above all, Washburn delivers a personalized education you won't find at larger schools. Find the right path at washburn.edu.
Now, hold on, guys. I'm going to move mine. Sorry. I'll move over here into this corner. Hold on. I just have to move into the corner. Okay. So. Oh, okay. So I'm being moved because, you know, I'm like the last person at the courthouse because I have to give it to y'all raw. So hold on, y'all. So this side or inside, or does it matter? Or just outside? Okay, I'm good here. Okay, guys. So they're moving the barricades. They're basically telling me you don't gotta go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Okay, thank you. Okay, right? So, right? So the kids are not in the court today. Okay, so let me just say this, right? Hey! So listen, here's what we gotta do, okay? And y'all need to listen to this. And this is very, very important, all right? This is a happy day for all. Hey, what's up? Hi. Okay, for all the people saying that the evidence seems light, you don't need heavy light. You don't need to be Narcos season 1 through 10. All you need to do is break the law. Again, people are saying, "Oh, who cares that he passes it?" Are we in La La Land? I know it's a lifestyle, but it's an illegal lifestyle. If you give drugs to someone, it is an illegal lifestyle. Point blank. You have broken the law. You guys, the prosecution was chilling. They were beyond happy. They were literally sitting there, and Maureen Comey could have been like, she would have been. When I say they were so smug, as they should, and Diddy's team looked like everything and their whole world had just fallen apart. And they were still looking for case law, looking for something, zooming in, trying to see if they could find a legal out. But at the end of the day, the law is the law is the law. And it doesn't matter how many people don't think that the law is heavy enough. It doesn't matter how much they don't think it was real RICO, real etc. That's why you're not a federal judge, and that's why you're never going to be a federal prosecutor, because y'all don't even know half the stuff that you guys are putting up is illegal. Now listen, right? Here's the funny thing. Hey, Brian.
I'll tell you later. Okay.
Okay. Hey.
Here. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Andrews from TMZ, popping in on the fabulous Tisa Tells telecast here outside the New York courthouse. She's wonderful. She's amazing, and she makes covering this case fun. So,
oh, thank you,
I'll talk
Brian.
to you later. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Listen, that is TMZ. Every time I see TMZ, Brian is one of the biggest producers on TMZ. Every time I see him come up, I'm like, what's the tea? What's scoop? Usually he saves the exclusive for TMZ, but we're all in the courtyard. This is our little court family, okay? I did not leave my purse. Don't worry, y'all. I had somebody get it. I didn't leave my purse. Don't worry. I didn't leave my purse. Juror 25 is still in this. Okay, but let's go into what this actually means for Diddy, okay? First of all, it means he is cooked. They got this. They got him. They got him. And judging by their faces, they know that they actually got him. Now, when you look into the other stuff about Juror 25, that he could not follow, well, the other jury member said that he couldn't follow the judge's instructions, right? They asked for more info on the nature of the issue. Clearly, it got resolved. But again, the fact that the question came out that if they asked for it, is it really distribution? And the prosecution said the answer is yes. It is 100% distribution. They got him. You listen, the government did not put anything in the record. They don't have any info about what's happening with the jury's deliberations. However, we have to start making inferences. We have to look at what the jury signals. And what the jury signaled is, at least on one predicate act, when it comes to RICO, it looks like Diddy, the jury has found that Diddy did in fact commit distribution. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy. So we got one. You only need 2 predicate acts for RICO. What should be the second predicate act? You want bribery? You want kidnapping? You want moving prostitutes across state lines for the intent of sex trafficking? What do you want for the RICO Act? You want obstruction of justice? Tell me what you want. Because, listen, the prosecution, Maureen Comey and them was like literally 100,000, lining up the $100 bills. Like, what you want? 100,000 bills. What do you want, y'all? This is very, very bad for Diddy. And it lets me know that Mark Agnifilo and his twisting and pirouetting and his comedy show, to quote Bernard from Burden of Proof, like she said, Bernard from Burden of Proof, the had just fallen apart, and they were still looking for case law, looking for something, zooming in, trying to see if they could find a legal out. But at the end of the day, the law is the law is the law, and it doesn't matter how many people don't think that the law is heavy enough. It doesn't matter how much they don't think it was real RICO, real etc. That's why you're not a federal judge, and that's why you're never going to be a federal prosecutor, because y'all don't even know half the stuff that you guys are.
I've been trying to tell the tea sippers that for how long? The law ain't based on how you feel. I tried to tell you that they was going to put it down at the very end where you are not going to be able to play that game. Baby, that's why he wanted 6. Get rid of 7, we want 8. And then they say if they have to remove 25 because he can't obeyed the judge's instructions. I think they said the next person. Did they say it's the female? I think the next person is the female. I can't remember. But yeah, that's what's going down. Yeah, he's sick. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick. He's sick as a dog. Let's go.
Putting up is illegal. Now listen, right? Here's the funny thing. Hey, Brian.
I'll tell you later. Okay.
Okay. Hey.
Here. Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Andrews from TMZ, popping in on the fabulous THORNTON telecast here outside the New York courthouse. She's wonderful. She's amazing, and she makes covering.
Hey,
this
Brian.
case fun. So,
thank you,
I'll talk
Brian.
to you later. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Listen, that is TMZ. Every time I see TMZ, Brian is one of the biggest producers on TMZ. Every time I see him come up, I'm like, what's the tea? What's scoop? Usually he saves the exclusive for TMZ, but we're all in the courtyard. This is our little court family, okay? I did not leave my purse. Don't worry, y'all. I had somebody get it. I didn't leave my purse. Don't worry. I didn't leave my purse. Juror 25 is still in this. Okay, but let's go into what this actually means for Diddy, okay? First of all, it means he is cooked. They got this. They got him. They got him. And judging by their faces, they know that they actually got him. Now, when you look into the other stuff about Juror 25, that he could not follow, well, the other jury member said that he couldn't follow the judge's instructions, right? They asked for more info on the nature of the issue. Clearly, it got resolved. But again, the fact that the question came out that if they asked for it, is it really distribution? And the prosecution said the answer is yes. It is 100% distribution. They got him. You listen, the government did not put anything in the record. They don't have any info about what's happening with the jury's deliberations. However, we have to start making inferences. We have to look at what the jury signals. And what the jury signaled is, at least on one predicate act, when it comes to RICO, it looks like Diddy, the jury has found that Diddy did in fact commit distribution. Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day. So we got one. You only need two predicate acts for RICO. What should be the second predicate act? You want bribery? You want kidnapping? You want moving prostitutes across state lines for the intent of sex trafficking? What do you want for the RICO act? You want obstruction of justice? Tell me what you want. Because Listen, the prosecution, Marine Comey and them was like literally 100,000, lining up the $100 bills. Like, what you want? 100,000 bills. What do you want, y'all? This is very, very bad for Diddy. And it lets me know that Mark Agnifilo and his twisting and pirouetting and his comedy show, to quote Bernard from Burden of Proof, like she said, Bernarda from Burden of Proof, the comedy show that Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, actually performed was not effective, because at the end of the day, you can do all the lights, cameras, action, you can do the and scene, you can do all that, but at the end of the day, the law is the law is the law. And that jury verdict street, they are taking all the actions he's been accused of, and they are applying it, and they are actually making law. It is what it is. You guys, go on don't go harass anyone. But this is a great, listen, I have a feeling that a lot of these stupid Diddy supporting pages, and when I call them stupid, I'm not calling them stupid for supporting Diddy. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I call them stupid because as much as they say, you are supporting feelings. You are supporting vibes, but you're not actually supporting the facts.
Tisa.
Keep your opinion.
I'll tell you what, majority of them are supporting Tisa. They are supporting their own actions. They are justifying him so that they can justify themselves. That's what they doing. That's what they doing. They dirty. They may not be as dirty as Diddy or hell, or maybe they are. I don't know. But they are justifying their bad habits, their bad thinking. I heard one guy say, "Oh no, what I'm seeing is consent and freaky shit." No, if you have to DRUGGED somebody, no, that ain't consent. But it's just what y'all have accepted in that culture, I guess. I don't know, but let's go.
Yeah. Think whatever you want, but back it up with facts. Don't sit there and say everybody's delusional. I think, oh, I don't think. But you refuse to bring in one fact. You refuse to bring in one piece of evidence. You refuse to do anything. You're just going off of what you feel, what you know, what you hope, what you pray for what you wish. Baby, the best and easiest thing to do is to know reality. And my dad always told me that. That's the easiest way to get ahead in life. Recognize reality, not what you hope it to be, not what you wish it to be, not what you think it should be, not anything except for what it is. That does not mean that reality cannot change. But if you want to make a change in your life and you want to actually do something, you must acknowledge where reality is so you can start to make it work in your favor. These Diddy supporters and even Diddy's team, I mean, I understand why they did it. By keeping him in La La Land, they probably got 20, 30 million from him. But my whole point is by keeping Diddy in La La Land, they probably, again, did they not get 20? Did they not get 30? Did they not get how many million from him? But my whole issue is with that, right? My whole issue is with that. Diddy's supporters don't acknowledge reality. I don't care if you don't think it's not bribery. It is under law. I don't care if you don't think that passing out a bunch of Molly to your friends, your fridge, whatever you want to call them, right? That's not illegal. It's 100% illegal. Oh, by the way, really quick, did y'all hear that story? I talked about it in last live, but I want to talk about it here. You know, after Mark Agnifilo was telling everybody that Diddy was a swinger's lifestyle, the National Swinger Associations, all 4 of them in America, have come out and said that Diddy's lifestyle was an abomination and he was not in a swinger's lifestyle.
I didn't think that would be a swinger's either.
Associate him with a swinging lifestyle.
Good, because I didn't think that was what swingers do.
Hold on, I have to read this one more time. I'll make a standalone video.
So
about
even
it
the Swingers Foundation organization, baby boom.
Hold on, I really have to get into the swinging lifestyle. This was very funny. Just let me cook with this, okay? Where are we at for the swinging lifestyle? Hold on, y'all. I have it right here. No, that's not it. Hold on. That's not it. Where is it at? Where are we at? Hold on. Hold on. So there was oh, here we go. Here we go. The swinging, I didn't even know that there are official swinging national organizations, but it was good, right? Listen. Here it is. The rapper's legal team first offered a window into his defense during a court hearing on April 25th, arguing that Combs isn't guilty of federal sex crime because in his mind, he's engaging in sexual swinging. But Combs' alleged actions have nothing to do with the swinger lifestyle, said Brett Chamberlain, executive director of Open, a nonprofit working to expand acceptance for families and non-monogamous relationships. Using misogyny and swinging as a legal defense to explain away alleged harmful behavior mischaracterizes what these relationship structures are about and potentially harms our community by reinforcing harmful stereotypes. Oh, baby, it is not over. Listen, they said at the center of this lifestyle, at the center of the swinging lifestyle is informed, revocable consent, said Susan Wright, a spokesperson for the National Coalition of Sexual Freedom and Advocacy Organization for Consensual Non-Monogamy Communities. This requires lengthy conversations to set safe boundaries and ensure all parties enthusiastically agree. They went on to say, non-monogamous people joke that they spend more time talking about having sex than having it. These relationships prioritize communication, mutual agreement, and respect for everyone involved. They said the conversations happened often before and throughout activities, Chamberlain said. Non-monogamous advocacy organizations like Open educate communities on what consent should look like, freely given, without pressure or coercion, revocable at any point in time, informed about STDs and substances, and enthusiastic and specific. They said the key distinction of ethical non-monogamy is that these conversations happen proactively and deliberately rather than assuming everyone shares the same expectation. Anything other than that is a heck yes or no. Now, Kylie George, 34, was infuriated. Kylie George, 34 years old, was infuriated to learn that Diddy's defense team claims, anyway, it doesn't matter. The whole point of the matter is, right? And this is what we have to see. The whole point of the matter is that Diddy tried to say that abusing women, raping women, forcing drugs on women, beating women. Diddy's team from Diddy tried to actually bring in the swinging. Who would have thought we'd be defending the swinging lifestyle? Would be no offense if you're into that. I just know that I will not be interviewing my replacement. I will not be helping my current man interview my replacement, right? But the whole point of the matter is, right? Hold on really quick, y'all. Hold on. The whole point of the matter is, right? The whole point of the matter is that we had to literally, hold on really quick, y'all.
Y'all, this, I mean, I'm going to say it's good news. I'll take that. Because that, I mean, if that's one that they have found are going to use, we know bribery. I'm just saying the easy ones. In that 20K extortion. Then you can go with all that other stuff, forced and all that other stuff. I wasn't even counting that one.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Wait, hold on. Hold on, my God, I have an idea. Okay, can you hear me better now? Can you guys hear me better now? Let me, oh, you can hear me better now? Okay, great. Okay, all right. Wait, can you hear me? Put a 1 if you can hear me better, and put a 2 if you can hear me the same. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing, right? At the end, okay, you guys can hear me better. Okay, perfect. Okay, right? Okay, so the whole point of the matter is, and this is my whole point, Diddy's team tried to pass off his depravity as swinging, as if people that swing had nothing better to do than engage in slavery. And that is not what happened at all. So where are we all with what happens with, right? Where are we at? What happened with Diddy? Okay, hold on, move over here. There is so much like commotion in this courtyard. There's like 1 million people talking. There's 1 million people this. Somebody started speaking Spanish. It was just like too much. And you know me, I'm just, I can deal with a lot. And I was like, whatever. Oh, do you mind thing? Okay, right? So where are we at? Okay, where are we at? You guys hear me the same or better? It's supposed to be these mics. You're supposed to hear me better. No, it's just the same. Okay, right? Okay, so in any case, thank you. So in any case, right? So you know it's bad. If the national swinging people will not even let Diddy get a thing in. They literally disassociated themselves with that mofo. They literally disassociated themselves, okay? Thank you. Thank you, sweetie. So they literally disassociated themselves with Diddy. How bad is it that the swingers had to come in and said, first of all, we're a legitimate lifestyle. Second of all, Diddy, keep that mess to yourself. We don't got nothing to do with it. Mark Agnifilio really messed up with that, and I don't even understand why. But I mean, I understand why. When you're dealing with rotten zucchini, you can't make lemonade. When you're dealing with rotten zucchini, you can't do anything. Okay, so what else happened in court? All right.
Okay, come on.
A few other things happened. The swingers came out and said no to Diddy. Diddy is 100 catching that drug predicate offense. They literally asked, does it matter if the person consumed it? If the person asked for it, is it still distribution? To which Maureen Comey said, hell yes, it's still distribution. Juror 25 was acting up, and now it makes me think that Juror 25, 100%, right? It makes me think that juror 25 100% was the one that was saying, okay, fine, maybe it's distribution, but if they asked for it, maybe it wasn't. Again, I'm not in the jury room. I'm not saying juror 25 said it, but when you look at the earlier notes, it kind of signals. Again, you guys, we are on verdict watch, and nothing is going to be known until the jury comes out. You need 2 predicate acts that the jury unanimously has to agree upon. People thought that that drug charge was weak, but it looks like the jury just found out that in the eyes of the law, what Diddy was doing was 100% is, and will always remain illegal.
Whether they give
illegal. Oh, hold on, let me get to
pass
this
money or not. Whether they pass money for it or not.
Really quick. Eve loves God. Thank you so much for joining the family. Rich Guy interviews. What's up? Thank you. Mary from Virginia. Mary in Virginia. Judge Aaron actually likes brevity and simplicity, so I think he's going to take that, but Comey is already fighting for it. Comey literally jumped up and did the lean and said, oh no, Your Honor, we're going to put a yes in front of there. Comey is 100% going to fight. Camera Amos, welcome to the
put
family.
yes in front of that answer. Yes, it is
always
distribution.
Who's Jack Frost? Exactly.
Plenty of the supporters do the same. Right.
Nala for the people.
I think she's finished. Let's go to the next. Yeah, she's giving accolades. Hold on. Let's go. Shout out to T-Star. Let's go. Y'all please double tap. Let me hear her.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and YouTube Music Premium. A whole
like people are really trying to figure out.
The Diddy trial jurors did not render a verdict today. The jury said that they were ready to end their deliberations at 5 p.m. today, but right before they ended, they submitted a note to the judge that asked for clarification about the distribution, which is one of the predicate acts that fall under RICO. And they asked, if a person asks for an illegal substance and then a person hands it over to them, is that counted as distribution? Now, the judge said that he's going to give them the answer to this question tomorrow, and he told Diddy's lawyers and the prosecution to come up with the proper wording for the answer to this question. The government thinks that the answer should say yes and then point them back to the jury instructions. Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilio, said that he would like a little more time to discuss it with his team. And then the judge said that they needed to agree on the language that he needs to give the jurors about this question by 6 p.m. tonight. Oh, this is one of the questions that I say watch out for because it can kind of tell you what the jury is thinking. If the judge decides to go with what the government says and it's just flat out yes, that is distribution, that could honestly be bad for Diddy. As you know, under the RICO charge, you only have to prove 2 predicate acts happened in a 10-year time period. Little things like this, in turn, actually turn out to be a big deal, but I'm sure we'll find out more about this tomorrow. But y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Yeah, buddy.
What actual crimes
Yeah, buddy. Oh, no. Now I can go to this one. Here we go.
A number 33, but let's
That's not
first
where I was trying
recap
to go.
32.
Hold on.
So before we get into
Let me go back to where I was. Let's go. Oh, yeah, and I want to do him. Okay.
like, people are really trying to figure out, okay, so things just exploded inside the federal courtroom in New York. It's day 32 of the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs, and right as the jury starts deliberating, boom, a note drops that flips everything. Apparently, one of the jurors, juror number 25, is refusing to follow the judge's instructions. Yes, seriously. This could completely derail one of the biggest trials we have seen in years. So what's going on behind closed doors? What does this mean for Diddy? And how bad is it really? Stick around, guys, because I have the entire breakdown. So it's June 30th. After nearly 2 months, guys, 2 months of court, 28 days of testimony, 34 witnesses, the jury's finally handed the case. Their job? Decide if Diddy's guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, and moving people across state lines for prostitution. Huge stuff that could put him away for life in prison. So this morning, Judge Aaron Sobramian spends more than 2 hours walking the jury through the legal instructions. Basically, it's a rule book on how to weigh all the evidence. But by 11:30 a.m., the 12 jurors, 8 men and 4 women, they headed into the deliberation room to, go over everything and decide the case. But then at 11:48, the first note comes in. Juror number 5 is named foreperson. He's a 31-year-old investment analyst from Connecticut. Pretty buttoned up guy, okay? Everyone thinks, cool, things are rolling along smoothly. But then it gets messy. At 1:25 p.m., barely an hour later, the foreperson sends another note. And this one's a bombshell. Quote, "We have a juror, number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions." Yeah, that's not what you want to hear on day 1 of deliberations. Now the judge has to figure this out. Is the juror just confused or straight up refusing to play by the rules? So who is this guy? Juror number 25 is a 51-year-old scientist. He's got a PhD in molecular biology and neuroscience.
Too smart to be playing
dumb.
dumb.
Documentaries. Smart dude. But during jury selection, he admitted he'd already seen the 2016 hotel video. Yeah, the one with Diddy chasing Cassie down the hallway, kicking her, beating her, all of that. So, but he said that he could still be fair and that he could weigh both sides of the argument, that didn't really cloud his judgment in this whole case. But now his fellow jurors are flagging him as a problem. The note doesn't explain what he's doing, just that it's enough to raise concern. And that vagueness, it is setting off alarms all across social media, I'm sure all in that courtroom, and everywhere you can think. Like, people are really trying to figure out, like, how did they get to that conclusion so fast? Is he being defiant? Is he being ornery? Like, for them to send a note to the judge this quickly, something is really, really wrong in that room. Now, after this, the courtroom goes into overdrive. Prosecutors want to follow up immediately. They suggest sending a detailed note asking whether juror 25 is just confused or actively ignoring the law. Their draft is long and loaded with legal jargon. But Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, he pushes back. He's like, hold up. It's way too soon to start dissecting the jury's process. That could mess everything up. Now, I'm not sure why he would do this, because it could be in his favor to call this out. So something is not really going on. Right to me. Again, this whole case, every time I think I know where things are headed, something new happens that completely throws me off. The defense wants to keep it simple. Basically, just tell them, hey, keep going. Like, literally, ignore the note, just keep going, and he's ignoring the jury instructions. But the judge steps in and says, enough, figure it out together. 10 minutes. That's what he gives them, 10 minutes to figure it out. So by 2 p.m., they land on a compromise. The judge sends a neutral message. I received your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. So essentially, listen, tough it out, figure it out. I'm not dealing with this right now. There's no mention of juror number 25. No drama. Just a reminder and a warning. Don't send any more notes with inside details from that jury room. Just do your job. So why is this a big deal? Now, if this feels like a small hiccup, I want you to trust me when I say it's not. In a case this massive, all 12 jurors need to fully agree on every count. If even one person refuses to play ball, that's a hung jury. No verdict. Months of work and millions of dollars wasted.
Oh, it's
Victims
coming right
will
back.
be re-traumatized. Diddy's fate is left dangling. And let's not forget the timing. It's June 30th. 4th of July is right around the corner. It's this weekend. 4-day weekend. The court is closed July 3rd and 4th. These jurors have already given up their summer, Memorial Day included. They're sitting in sweltering heat, and now they're staring down a long weekend. That pressure to wrap things up is very, very real. Analysts say holidays like this can push juries towards rushing towards a consensus just to get out of there because they don't want to do it anymore. But if one juror is digging in their heels, that gets a lot harder. And I would assume if it's this one juror frustrated them to the point that they had to send a note to the judge, things are getting ugly in that room.
They saying, I ain't finna play with
must
this
be
man.
holding out for something. We don't know what. So that begs the question, what's up with juror number 25? I mean, honestly, like I said, we don't know exactly. The note doesn't spell it out. Maybe he's just lost in the legal language. Racketeering, guys, it's a beast. It involves proving at least 2 criminal acts tied to an organized scheme. Maybe he's stuck on Cassie's video. He made it seem like, it made an impression on him. Maybe it's clouding his judgment. Or maybe he's just clashing with the rest of the jury. Things get heated during deliberations, especially with the kind of testimony we've heard from Cassie, Jane Doe, detailing alleged abuse, control, coercion. The prosecution paints Diddy as a criminal kingpin. The defense says it's all wild, but consensual. Juror 25 could be struggling to reconcile those two pictures. Now remember, this isn't the first juror drama. This trial's already had its share of juror issues. Early in June, juror number 6 was removed for lying about where he lived. He claimed that he lived in the Bronx, but he'd actually moved to New Jersey, making him ineligible. Diddy's team fought hard to keep him. He was one of only 2 black men on the panel, and they argued that his removal hurt the jury's diversity. But the judge said no, and they let a white alternate step in his place. That caused tension, and now with juror 25 under scrutiny, things are even more delicate. If he's removed, they have to bring back 1 of 5 alternates who were just dismissed this morning. It's a total logistical nightmare. It's a mess. The stakes couldn't be higher. And here's a quick refresher of the charges that Diddy is facing. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors say he ran a criminal enterprise. If convicted, he will get life. Counts 2 and 3, sex trafficking. Did he coerce Cassie and Jane into sex acts? Each one also carries a life sentence. Counts 4 and 5, transporting for prostitution, basically arranging travel for sex. Each count can get up to 10 years. The defense is pushing hard to reframe it all as consensual, adult behavior. They're also pointing fingers at the accusers, especially Cassie, arguing she has financial motives since she filed a civil lawsuit too. But bottom line, juror number 25's vote matters, and it matters a lot. So what happens now? Well, the jury is still deliberating, and juror 25 is still in the room. The judge's note was a gentle nudge, I would say. But if things don't smooth out, we might see the judge interview juror 25 one-on-one. If it turns out that he isn't willing or able to follow the law, he could get booted. If not, the jury stays deadlocked. We could be headed for a mistrial. And if they do reach a verdict, you better believe the world is going to be watching. Either way, there's going to be eruption everywhere, especially on social media. Guys, this trial's been wild. And the latest juror drama just adds another twist. But what do you think is going to happen with juror 25? Will they be deadlocked? Is he stuck on that Cassie video? Just not vibing with the legal
I don't know
instructions?
what it is, but they moved right on. Hold on. They talking about something else. Come on, I got some other ones to. Come on. Let's listen to the brothers. The brothers said, man, what's going on? Because if they find Diddy guilty, what the fuck does that mean for us? Now, I ain't never watched this cat before. I've never watched it, so it's going to be after we going to do it together. I just saw the title and said, well, let me see what he got to say. Let's hear this. Hold on. Let's hear this. I'm just curious. Let's go.
You know, send a message, man, from all the vets. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Down there, Columbus, Georgia, for a bidding, man. Happy birthday to my Uncle Charles, man. You know, they watched the show, man.
Happy birthday, Uncle Charles.
Happy birthday, Uncle Charles.
You know what I'm saying? They watching everything that we talk about. They say stuff that we talk about impacts the culture and and we have a well-rounded show. So they want you to, you know they say, you know, say salute.
Oh,
and
man,
when they say it, salute
right back at them, man.
to all the soldiers,
Come on, man, salute.
Yes, sir.
Now, in trending topics right now, we're getting into this Diddy trial this week, and it's looking like the jury is about to have to start deliberating on what's going on. With this trial right here, basically, we all know that Diddy's been charged with a RICO, dealing with all of the different freak-offs and, you know, alleged sex trafficking. What precedents do you think that this trial and the verdict of this trial will set?
Y'all hit the like button, please.
In the hip-hop community, man.
Wow. That's a hell of a question on Monday. Ooh, you coming out guns a-blazing on Monday, ain't you?
Yeah, I am.
You ain't gonna wait. This a Thursday question. Friday when we getting off.
Not a Monday morning question.
Not a Monday morning question.
Think about all
Man, I'm thinking about, you know what I'm saying, Bahamas or something.
Yeah.
I think that this case, the verdict of it, it won't have the impact of the OJ case, of course. You know what I'm saying? I think that, you know, with the OJ case back then, it was more of...
Yeah, I need 20 likes.
People kind of, you know, you had black on one side, white on one side. So that was just like historical. I put that as far as the interest of the verdict. That was the trial of the century. As far as the interest of a verdict went. You know what I'm saying? You was on one side or the other.
Yeah.
I would compare this to, I think this would be bigger than R. Kelly's case. I think it's a little different case than R. Kelly. R. Kelly had a stigma of, and I think that he got convicted. It was similar, but what got R. Kelly convicted is the public, us as blacks, it was the young girls.
Okay, the babies.
That I think that ultimately did him in. Seeing video, the rumors about Aaliyah.
Yeah.
And you know, and families dropping off young girls to him. I think that's where we, as the black community, we say, well, you know what, we
draw the line
on this one. Yeah. So we kind of, you know, when the verdict came out on him, you know, we were sad because we lost a great talent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, said, well, you're doing a lot of, you know, you're doing this to our, because a lot of these girls were black girls.
Yeah.
So you're doing it to our sisters
Yeah.
and daughters. So we couldn't ride with you, you know, fully on that. Yeah, we lost a great talent, but you know what? Hey, with this here, with Diddy behind, I think the precedent on this is going to be for all entertainers.
Okay.
For all men.
Come on.
Period.
Let's be honest.
Is more of a sexist kind of thing, even though there are men that have come out too.
Okay.
But I think that a lot of women are looking at this trial.
What's your name, sir? Not a lot of them, because a lot of them are right up in there with them. They like, hell, traffic me. I'm cool with being passed around while I've been drugged. I mean, that ain't no RICO. I mean, come on now, sir. It's some women that's okay with it. They all up in Diddy's ass too. They okay with it. I'm just shocked. Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, we ain't gonna act like it ain't no hooker-minded females out there. Some of them are okay with being passed around and woke up with a whole bunch of different, what I call it, what's that icing called? Glazed icing all over her. Yeah, I'm gonna call a spade a spade.
And a lot of men are. I think it's 80% men looking at it, viewing it.
I think when it started out, the women felt that way. But I think as the trial kind of progressed and the women started to see what was going on, I saw a lot of women change their stance.
Now women have changed their stance. I ain't saying all, but I'm saying, I think that...
Shit, I ain't changed at all.
A lot of our women have been abused in some type of way.
I agree.
And it not all physically.
Right.
A lot of them feel verbally disrespected, being suppressed, their you know, their voice.
Okay, I
you
can
know,
dig that.
voting from back in the day, you know, just being under a man's control, being oppressed by a man. And I think that so they are viewing this as, you know, a little different than men. Men, we're viewing this as, man, we can't do shit no more. We can't talk crazy no more. When we out there doing construction and they walk past, you know, stuff we used to say, oh, damn good, man, that's sexual harassment. Now we're, you know, they can be distraught for, you know, life. And if they go on to do other things, they can always come back and say, because you did this, because you said that, I got Stockholm syndrome and you know, and my life has been ruined because of you. You know, a lot of men feel like the finger will be able to be pointed at us in the court and in the court of law, that it'll be a lot easier for you know, a lot of these entertainers, ball players, actors, their mistreatment of women to be able to come back on them. You know, people, a lot of guys been married and got kids, and it's 20 years in the past. We kind of saw it with Bill Cosby. You understand what I'm saying? They ultimately let Bill out, you know, early. So I think the impact of this right here is gonna divide instead of race. I think it's going to be a divide of gender more, you know, and not all. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of men that are going to be in the comments say, you know, you shouldn't be doing our women like this. You know, you as the man, you're the leader, you have a responsibility to lead the household and the black community. So I don't feel sorry for you. You understand what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of black men that's going to take that stance. You know, and there's going to be a lot of black women that's going to say, you know, we birthed these men. These are our, you know, brothers, fathers, dads and stuff. And I know women, you know, because I am a woman. And girl, you can't nobody make you do nothing that you don't want to do. If you following a man right here, if you out here selling answers, you out here stripping when you're younger, you out here doing pay for play type of stuff, then there you want to cry victim. I have had women saying that. So like I said, either way it goes, that's why I said it's gonna be it's more of a gender verdict. It's gonna affect you know, everybody differently gender wise. So that's why I say it's gonna be huge. Behind, you know, if Puffy is found guilty, like I said with R. Kelly, he was found guilty, but it was more underage girls. You know, they said he holding them hostage. This is totally different. Puff was saying, hey, if you don't want to do nothing, kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? If you want this lifestyle, you know, then, you know, hey, this is what I'm engaging in. And if you want to stay in this lifestyle and be up under me, this is probably what you need to engage in. And so it's that breaking the law by giving a woman a choice, but a lot of women are saying it's still mental abuse. You know what I'm saying? Is there a law for that? Is this going to be a law that right now I can be blamed for telling a woman, say, well, you know what, if you want to be with me, this is my lifestyle. I'm a swinger. I'm gonna be in this, you know, I go to a strip club every Friday. So if you're a woman and you want to be with me, then you have to understand that I like to go to strip club. And you know what? I like to take my woman with me. You understand what I'm saying?
But no, I feel you.
And not be 20 years later, you come back and say, well, you know, I was with Wick, but he used to make me go to Magic City on Fridays with him. When you do that.
Now, I totally understand what you're saying. When I'm looking at what's going on right here, Wick, I'm going to ask you this question before I go down this street, because I'm going to need you to get in this car with me and buckle up, okay? Because we're about to go on a wild ride.
Let's go.
Have you ever heard of the term flued out or flown out?
No, I haven't. I mean, what you mean?
Girls get flown out.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
I thought it was something like it's like some, you know, like the bird flu. I didn't know it was something with eating or something.
No.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry as hell. You know, you didn't feel the breakfast behind. You know what I'm saying? When you start, I'm thinking about a chicken. I'm talking about a chicken this morning.
So I say that to say, when we talk about flued out or flown out, that was just common occurrence in words in the culture that you heard almost damn near every day, right?
Correct.
But when we look at Diddy's case, that's flying folks out. So now my question is, are we in the middle of a sex trafficking culture?
Yep.
Okay, to where you can get anybody for flying somebody out.
Yep.
Right? You see what I'm saying? And it's not just the men that's flying folks out. These women are flying men out too.
Yep.
Women with power and money, they'll fly them all out too. So everybody
Absolutely.
gets blown out.
Absolutely.
I've seen political officials flying out, you know what I'm saying, spouses and stuff on government budgets. Wink, wink.
See that? So that's my thing right there. You know, if Diddy goes down for this, because, you know, the most egregious thing that he did was the video where he was beating Cassie.
Correct.
And everybody knows that that was just not a good look and that was just wrong.
Right.
But the issue is
Ain't
that
nobody-
if y'all really wanted Diddy that bad, y'all would have charged him with that.
Correct.
But y'all didn't charge him with domestic violence.
Right.
Y'all charged this man with a whole RICO.
Right.
So, you know, if you're not...
What's your name, sir? I don't remember. I mean, stop that. Stop that. That was far beyond. When has oh my God, stop it. Y'all still want to ride on that. That is not domestic violence. It may look like that, but it was a whole prostitute in there waiting. They was in the midst of a whole freak out that she left because she didn't want to do it no more. That is not domestic violence. That's bitch, you better come up in here and finish this with Jules. Now come on. We gonna tell the truth. Shame the devil. That was not. So how dare you forget a whole naked male hooker was in there. And Diddy was mad because he had to hop up out his corner. Well, hell, the way things look, he may have, because he liked Jules. We know he liked Jules and he liked RICO. But RICO wasn't going for everything, you know. Diddy had to wind up being submissive to RICO because RICO said, no, don't record me, no. I'll close your computer top. And he said, okay, yeah. Yeah, he bitched him out too much, you know. Yeah. So, and he wasn't impressed. And he had hands that was a lethal weapon. He was a MMA boxer or whatever. Yeah. So we not gonna act like it wasn't a whole, that she didn't leave a whole little freak off session. That Pimp Diddy said, bring your ass back, bitch. Bring your ass. What the fuck? You think you going, if you don't get your back in here and finish sucking it off. Yeah, that's what that ass whooping was about. So that was beyond. And he forced her back. So stop playing.
Not charging him with domestic violence, everything else that had to deal with the Wild King nights, okay,
Right.
The freak off parties,
Right.
The debauchery events that he was throwing. I'm pretty sure he was doing that thinking that he wasn't even breaking the law. I don't even think I can't even see him intentionally trying to break the law. Like,
see, this is what happened with men. How you gonna have a whole hooker, male hooker, that you converted from a stripper to a hooker? How you gonna say he didn't know that he was breaking the law? He had a whole lineup of hookers that he was paying. I think the most was $5,000 a day. And you telling me he didn't know he was breaking the law? Y'all play too much. That's why y'all all gonna be in trouble
right now. That's just what people do for excitement and enjoyment. They
well, you
fly
better
people
change
out
it
to
up.
where they are, or where they going
Right.
for sex.
Right. If they're not flying them, they're boating them. They catch them votes and coming out.
Well, I suggest y'all find y'all one y'all really like. And you get her to do everything all them other ones was doing in your hometown. Because flying them out now is RICO.
Yeah.
No, it's double X trafficking. Yeah. Triple X.
That, I mean, does it hold the same weight? Not me just even buying you an airline ticket and flying you. If I rent you a car, how many men have rented a car for women and they come across state lines to come to a party to go party? They drive down to Miami.
This, though, Wick? What about the women that get flown out and then the man says put up or shut up, and then they wind up having to go back home because they didn't do what they thought they was gonna do when they got flown out? So if they go back home and they didn't put up a shut up, they can say that he tried to fly me out and coerce me to have sex.
And that's a crime?
That's sex trafficking.
That's sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Well, sex gotta happen.
Daytona weekend, hey baby, I'm gonna rent you a car so you can meet me down at the party on Daytona Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Get down there, I get a couple drinks. Of course, if I wanted you down there and I rented you a car and I've been at you, I'm gonna try you.
Yeah.
So when I try you, when you don't came from Georgia, cross state lines into Florida, and I get you down there to Airbnb, and I try you, I broke the law because you came out of state.
Exactly.
So I broke the law.
That's sex
I didn't give you a chance if you said, if the woman said, go to hell, and still went to the beach and kicked it and went home and everything was good. Where was the crime? Because I tried you?
Exactly. Hold up, I'm pulling up the definition right now.
Oh my God. Well, I'm just asking you. That's why I say this verdict right here is monumental on how stuff is going to be looked at from now on. Period.
I mean, a commercial sex act refers to any sexual act performed in exchange for something of value, such as money or goods. These are some of the key elements of sex trafficking. Okay, so you got a commercial sex act. This is the reference to any sexual act that is performed in exchange for something of value, such as money or goods. So if you go down there, ladies, and you're going to get a purse out of a nigga, you just been sex trafficked. Force, fraud, or coercion. These are the methods used to compel someone into commercial sex. Force includes physical violence or threats of harm. Fraud involves deception or misrepresentation to trick someone into trafficking. And then you got coercion can include psychological manipulation, debt, bondage, or threats to a person's family well-being. So now when I go to force, fraud, or coercion, we could go with the fraud, which involves deception or misrepresentation to trick someone into trafficking. So if you done flew a woman down there and you was telling her that we going on a vacation and we just go, do some excursions, but then you want some sex, now that's fraud.
So what about
you tricked
the women?
Same thing.
Because this go both ways.
Yeah, it does.
So what about when your goal as a woman is to get down there and get wicked or whoever to take you shopping?
Same
buy
thing.
You them $1,000 shoes and purses and stuff. And say, girl, they talk to that girl. I know he wants some pussy, but I'm gonna go down there and trick him out some goddamn, clothes and everything else. Now, do I get to make a case that you sex traffic me?
If you want to,
because you're the one paying all the money.
No, you got tricked.
Whoever's got the money.
If you can prove that that's what she wanted,
for everybody
and she was doing it for sex.
But no, I'm saying women set up stuff too. They might not have the money, might make the guy pay for it, but they said, hey, babe, I want you to take me to Jamaica on Tuesday. So I need you to rent me a car. I need you to do it. So you're leading me on to think that if I'm doing all these things, we're going to have sex when you get there.
Right,
but
prove
you're coming with an intent
if you can prove it.
out of me to fraud me.
It don't matter.
Let me tell you.
Even like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Saying with the law, they saying even though Cassie might have been in a whole bunch of freak offs willingly, it only took one time for her to be like, I don't want to do this freak off today. And then they say, well, you did them the last 100 times.
Absolutely.
And she does it that day.
But she still will have the choice not to, but she still will have the choice to lead. If she said, I don't want to do it this time, Cassie set up a lot of freak offs on her girls' body. And I know.
Right, she did.
So why Diddy can't say, well, I was in my bed asleep, and she don't set up a freak off. She calls me over.
Cause she only, you know why? Wicked, cause baby, she only set them up to please him. She didn't set them up to please her. She set them up to please Diddy. She thought that that was her boyfriend instead of her pimp. He introduced her to that lifestyle. So she didn't just set it up because she wanted it. She set it up because she knew that's what he wanted. Okay? Yeah, she wasn't freaking off before she met him, and she ain't been freaking off since. She did it for Diddy, because that's what he told her people in the industry do. And if you want to be a part of the, and that's what he told, what's that woman? Usher's mama. Yeah. This is what happens in the industry. And once she goes at one of them white parties or King night, and she see all of the top celebrities, black, white, green, whatever, getting down like that. Oh, well, damn. For real? Really? Really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So no, she didn't. That ain't what she started. That's what she was introduced to by her pimp that she thought was her boyfriend. And when she was tired of it and didn't want to do it, he forced her. Big difference. And the quicker y'all get there and understand that, the better off y'all will be. But you write in your title, y'all asses are in trouble. Because that's what y'all do. And that manipulating, that saying one thing, tricking, what they call that, what I call that, shit, he good, tricky Ricky, he can talk you out your panties. You know, he good at his mouth. He'll have you thinking this, but it really be about that. He said, I just want to love on you. I just want to show you the world. I don't want nothing from you. I just want to make you happy. Shit, whatever you want, you can have. You can have whatever you like. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. But then when you get there, he's like, oh no, you got to put her up. Shit, what the fuck? Ain't shit free? Whole demeanor change. But you said I didn't. Oh, you know, shit, we grown. Now, then it start getting gank and start wanting to go upside your head. Yeah, that's how that go. That's how that go. That's how that go.
But I get over some freak off going on. All she had to do was one freak off tired and get us guilty. If she went in there and said, nigga, I'm tired today, I don't want to do a freak off. Right. And she did it anyway. What if Diddy was in there sleeping? She's doing a freak off. And
Usher mama was green as grass.
To do it. You know, to fuck her girls that she don't set up.
My 13-year-old, if his daddy can't go, I can't go, he can't either.
Everything. That was times that Diddy was tired.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
He came back like this. You know what I'm saying? She called him, babe, I need you to come through, bring a bottle of wine for me.
Oh, see, now you app living.
And then he gets over there, and the freak out was going on with his girl. And she like, yeah, girl, I told you I can get Diddy over here. Now, does he got a case? See that?
Oh, now you app living.
Well, I don't know.
Now y'all adding to the story.
About the laws of this RICO. Because we don't know exactly what's going to really fail. Yeah. We do know that it can be something very simple
that can cause you to break the law.
Okay,
Correct.
y'all.
It
Y'all,
can be
I
something,
may be
you know,
back later. Y'all don't have my
that you
likes
did
where they
that
need
caused you
to
break
be.
the law. But the whole thing is that what
I
I'm
may be
saying
back
is right
later.
now,
I may
think
be
we
on
living
the
in a
other
sex
page.
trafficking
I'm gonna be on the other
culture that can
page
open
later
up a can
on.
of worms to
Okay.
every man and woman
We
out
know
here
one
that's
is stuck,
that got
one
some
is
money.
parked, and
You
it is the
might
drug
be
distribution. That's one of the questions that the jurors asked. If someone asks you for it and you pass it, X or a Molly or we're just gonna say a DRUG, and you pass it to them, is that DRUG distribution? And the answer is yes. Whether they asked for it, whether they paid for it or not. If you hand it to them, that is distribution. And the defense melted. They had a meltdown. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord. Yeah. So that ain't even about bribery, the hookers, the extortion, arson. They said, is it distribution if you pass? If somebody asks you to give me one, and you give it to them, that's distribution. Okay, y'all, I'll be back later. I'll be on the other page. Fee about the facts. Peace.